an incredible amount of, you know, impact and kills and movement on the map. And I just think he is the key player. He is the one that's going to bring them to a playoff. And for outsiders, it's more the question of, can they get a little bit more killer instinct? Once they get up to those 14, 15 kind of rounds, I want them to be able to finish this match. I want them to be able to just like, no, now we're just gonna end it, you know, and bring that with them. So it's gonna be a very, very interesting match.
Well, we've been begging for that for years, dare I say, right? It's been a trend for them for a long, long time. I agree with you. It can be so frustrating, sort of like when you see G2 as well. You see the better team, and you know they're going to win, but it just has to be a fight every single time. And I also do want to bounce off your point about Spinks as well, because I agree in the first round matchup he was looking sharp, but there's a case to be made that as of right now, Spinks may be the best, dare I say it, one of the best players in the entire world, maybe the best rifler in the world as of right now, at least the most informed guy out there. He's playing some solid Counter-Strike. We've seen it from the beginning of the year. We've seen it so far here. We saw it at the RMR as well. This guy on your screen right here is a player to be reckoned with. And if he keeps up the stats that he's been producing the first 6 months of this year, there's a case to be made, as said, that he could be a top 5 player in the entire world.
Devilwalk, I want to ask you about another player on the side of ENCE. Of course, you worked a lot with Marden as well. So what should we be expecting from him coming into this particular series?
I think he's incredibly important for Spinks as well, because Spinks is really good at reading this and actually like high percentage plays, all of these things, while Madden and Dusha are more like these chaos makers, the bringer of that, and Spinks kind of cleans up after. And that's what he brings. He brings a lot of aggressive ideas for him to play and move around and open up the map for lurking players to be enabled.
And the interesting thing about this guy, right, coming up against YEKINDAR now, Madden against YEKINDAR, 2 entry fraggers that, as you said, you know, they love to create the chaos in the beginning of the rounds. They love to be aggressive, but for Madden, I feel like he's slowly but surely finding his footing within ENCE, whereas for YEKINDAR, he's established himself as the best entry fragger in the entire world. So for Madden right now to go up against a guy like YEKINDAR, it's going to be a massive task.
And it's interesting when we talk about the explosivity, because you were making a nice point before we came on air. The fact that we can kind of contrast the stylistic elements of this team quite a lot coming into this.
Yeah, ENCE is this team who just loves to be in a wolf pack mentality. They love to have 4 players at one point of the map, then someone throwing off a fake, and then you explode into a bomb site, or, you know, very simplified sometimes as well. Whenever you see them play Mirage, Snappy loves to call strats from the beginning of the round, explosive strats from the beginning of the round, where the entire team just sticks together. Whereas when you look at the outsiders and the way they play Counter-Strike, well, they just spread out all over the map, right? And they slow down the pace, and they try to capitalize off mistakes. They try to capitalize when a player like Madden will eventually come out and try to find an opening. So, as you said, Freya, stylistically speaking, I don't think we get much further away from each other than with these 2 teams.
No, I fully agree. It's going to be super interesting to see if ENCE are going to be over-eager and if outsiders can punish that aggression. So it's a lot of contrast here.
And I think it's really interesting, particularly coming into 2022, the rise that we've seen on the side of ENCE as well. You putting that down to, you know, Spinks becoming really informal. There are other kind of key elements of the team that we've kind of, the reason why we've seen this rise.
I mean, I like the idea that they do have these 2 ultra-aggressive player makers in Dusha and Madden, because they always have that fail-safe. If one of these goes down, there's still chaos to be made by the other player. He can always pick that up and create that space for Spinks to keep working.
And then when we're talking about outsiders on the other side of the equation, I mean, apart from that G2 match that we just saw, we have one of the most tapes on this particular team, because they did push it to the full 30 rounds in classic outsiders.
Yeah, they did. And it was like, again, outsiders, they did it for no reason. I felt like they took so many gambles, they took so many risks. They were up so far ahead of MIBR, and they sort of allowed MIBR to get back into the game. And it's always one of those cases where, of course, you got to give credit to MIBR for keeping their head cool and finding their way back into the game. But I saw plenty of rounds under us too, where outsiders from the beginning of the round decided to stack 4-man towards A for no reason, you know, just completely in the dark, just gambling every single round, just hoping that one of them they would hit right and then finish the game right. And I personally dislike that mentality. I think outsiders are too good to play on the gamble stacks. They should play more to the percentages, and they should allow YEKINDAR to do more on the server, at least for my money.
Yeah. No, it's definitely that, but let's hope they bring it.
And there is, I mean, there's a bit of history between these two teams as well. I know you were bringing up the last time these two teams faced. So, I mean, any key learnings from that? Obviously, it did go in the favor of ENCE.
It was a close game, you know. They played on Dust 2, they played on Mirage, ENCE ended up winning 2-0, 19-17 on Dust 2 and 16-10, as you see right here on the map of Mirage. Again, ENCE was doing Pro League, and they were the better team in that matchup. But as we know with outsiders, you can never count them out. And when you lose in overtime like this, 19-17, there's always a case to be made that they could have won it, you know, had they just won a couple of more rounds or a couple of more clutches. So I think what this shows us is that it's two teams that are relatively equal despite having this big contrast in how they play Counter-Strike.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting. We're going to be an important man to show up, Hades, as well. We haven't really mentioned him, but playing maps like Dust 2, Mirage, and Opera can be very, very impactful and very important in both to help the anchor out, to create space, to make sure they can hold utility for longer. So it's going to be very interesting to see what map we actually end up on, as we see the veto here on our screen.
Oh, it could have been Mirage, but
yeah, Vertigo. That's nice. A new one.
That is nice, you know, but that's one of the maps where I feel like outsiders are strong at.
Yeah.
YEKINDAR, A-Ramp, Vertigo, you know,
man.
that's just his playground. I believe he even said in an interview once that is the map, this CT side in the entire game he likes playing the absolute.
That and Banana, that's his two positions, and he's proven to be deadly time and time again.
Yes.
So this is going to be the best map to see the contrast of these play styles, because like full rushing, aiming down A-Ramp, and this more slow, methodical outsiders retaking A-Ramp, and see that kind of clash happen.
It is kind of fun we say it, right? Because when you think of it top of your mind, you think of outsiders to be a world-class team on Vertigo, and they are, but as of recently, the past 3 months, they've played it 5 times and only won once. They've lost 4 in a row as well. Lost to Sprout recently at the Pro League, and lost to Furia 16-7, lost to Heroic, lost to NIP. So they used to be super, super strong on the map, and I think that's why ENCE have allowed it to go to Vertigo as well. I don't think they're showing too much respect right here. I think that ENCE and the boys, the Snappy camp right now, feel that they are the better team, so allowing Vertigo in this matchup is a sign of confidence to me.
You're talking about hoping that outsiders can close this one out in a more clean fashion. We haven't seen thus far. It has only been one best of one series. What do you think needs to happen for them to kind of change that narrative around the team and for them to get that close?
I mean, against a team like ENCE, I'm not really sure. I hope for them to close out the game in a more convincing fashion. I think for them, it's just all about winning. If they can win 16-14 in this scenario, that will be a great victory, because they are going up against ENCE, who right now, at least in my book, is one of the outsiders to go into the playoff at the major. Whereas for outsiders, as recently, it's been very much up and down.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly hard to just... I mean, it's easy to diagnose the issue, but it's very, very difficult once you get to the server and when you start thinking about these things to actually break it down and see what causes this, right? Because it can be mental, it can be maybe the in-game leader wants to play it a little bit safer, and that kind of brings you to that point where they can gnaw back and you're not putting the same amount of pressure like you did in the earlier rounds to actually win them. So there's a lot of factors that can cause this problem, and it's very easy for us on the desk to say this needs to be fixed, but I think that's what's going to bring them the most success if they manage to focus on that and figure it out.
Yeah, it is a tough question indeed, and hopefully it is time to get some answers. We're going to jump on into Vertigo with Chad and Alex.
Yeah, already a bit of an eyebrow raiser. Vertigo being the map, Chad. We weren't, you know, we were flirting around with the map veto over in the green room, and Vertigo wasn't at the tip of the tongue.
No, I was thinking something like maybe an overpass or Dust 2, maybe Mirage could have snuck on in here. But to get it to Vertigo, it kind of feels like, okay, as Jacob pointed out, outsiders haven't been great, so you're going to leave it through. Are you confident? Do you want to play it even though it's not going well? ENCE are tempting you in. And ENCE, like, historically, it hasn't been a great map for them. It's been something that they've been working on in more recent times, and you've been seeing some better and better results out of them on that map. So they must be feeling confident. I think they've won the last 2 on the trot here, and they're one of those games against Copenhagen Flames, who aren't really a slouch on a map like Vertigo either. So excited to get Vertigo underway. The problem I see in this one is outsiders starting on the T side. And you hear Jacob talk about YEKINDAR on the CT side locking down a ramp. That's great. But on the T side, it's more traditionally Jame and Kick It heading down there. And if they get slowed and shut down, we all know how slow Jame is. YEKINDAR and Flit are working mid a little bit more. And then we have Buster, who's just a nuisance over towards B. So that's what we can expect out of this T side.
Yeah, and talking T side and talking YEKINDAR, YEKINDAR, it tends, from my eye test and from the many games we've seen of Outsiders Vertigo, he is feast or famine on T-side.
Yeah.
I have seen many a game where YEKINDAR is stubborn as a mule, trying to get those ramp frags through these fading smokes, through the pop flashes, up short, swinging ramp. He's got it in him, and it will either be a beautiful banquet of frags, or it will just be a poverty-stricken entry fragger.
I think that one of these things here with this team, right, it's got that dead team smell about it right now, but I don't think that matters as long as everybody's on the same page. It's like, boys, we're here to play this major. Maybe it's the last time together, but who cares? This is the major, right? So, and this is still can be a world-class team. I think firepower-wise, these guys are amazing when they all show up. So they definitely have the ability to go very far within this tournament here. It's just going to be a question of what type of Counter-Strike. Because when you see them playing that slower, more like stunted style where James saving the AWP every second round, that's when I start to lose a bit of confidence here. And they already had an iffy game earlier today, a 16-14 win over Imperial, but it became very close, that one.
My two ones to watch are both on screen. Hades for one reason and Spinks for a very different reason. Hades, it's still a question of proving to himself that he can do it in the big leagues. Got to show us all and show himself coming in at this. This is the perfect time now. It's best of ones. It's the opening stage of the tournament. It is a major. This is where you just have a pop-off with that AWAP and we get to see what you can do, because we know he's absolutely ridiculous with his signature weapon, with this ENCE roster, but yet to see him translate that to LAN directly. Spinks, on the other hand, gets his LAN buff. None of that 80 ping nonsense. He's rocking and body bagging with that 5 MS, 0 MS on a good day. And so let's go, Vertigo, for us to treat ourselves to. You can see they're making a bit of a bait here. YEKINDAR makes noise, no one else does. You hear one towards A, and YEKINDAR's going to be perhaps isolated here. They can swing on it, and that's what they do. Diha, dualies, does dunk one. Hades has support of Snappy, careful with that peek. He's considering a re-peek off the flash and does send them back down the ramp. Hades puts kick it in the ground. And it is just, this might be a whole round determined by just jewels on this ramp. YEKINDAR does get a long-range Glock at a price. 95 damage dealt to him, and it's a 3v2, but they are, I mean, fully known to be committed ramp. I don't think James necessarily has been spotted in the same capacity, but you can see the setup. Like, Madden's just going to float back CT, 2 here to receive the A commit, and it's James smoke molly.
If they can get a plant out of this, it'd be great. I don't know if James is going to want to burn this Molotov over towards the sandbag position now, and Snappy's actually going to come for the clear on through. One back turn, the USP shots go awry, and Snappy needs to get on out of dodge here. Does get the kill, does recover. Crisis averted, all good in the hood, as YEKINDAR, 5 HP, and what was a 1v3, has found the first.
So you saw the bomb short, Snappy's frag put it on the floor. And he just has no health. I mean, Spinks and Madden as well, the two sharpest tools in the ENCE shed. Fakes the noise, doesn't have time. And that bomb plant you were talking about, I think it's a pipe dream at this point. He knows he needs a frag before he could even consider that. He will just be run down by the both of them. 10 seconds, and here he goes. Oh. Oh, very close to getting the extra cash, but ENCE take the pistol in this best of one.
Yeah, and Spinks, this man on your screen right here, the man who got the final kill, he has just had these games where he just drops 30, like casually. He's just dropping bombs. Like, he is honestly just, I cannot speak highly enough of how he's been playing. Yeah. And it's not that it's seemingly come from nowhere, but now it's almost like I'm expecting him to drop 30 every game. He's just persistent and consistent. What's
so impressive is, you know, he stood out through his own ability in a very limited field.
Yes.
You know, like you have to work very hard to stand out in Counter-Strike as an individual, and he did so and continues to. He's even pre-aiming the run boost. This dude is cracked as he is jacked. Let's see what happens in round 2. Outsiders, they've done a nice pretty pattern. Buster.
Did he write Adren? Adren, yeah, former teammate.
Oh, shouting out those that are no longer with us in the server.
I think that he's streaming the game right now.
Oh, he's shouting out his boy.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was like, what is he doing?
I saw the end, that was all I had. And Diha's going to go and inspect the artwork as well. Heads to the gallery. Buster, the artist. Snappy, the dead man. Oof. You shouldn't really see anyone else go down. I think the Buster frag is more than enough of a bonus. And there you have it. Madden confirms it. Well handled by ENCE. They will take that 2-0 conversion, but that's with the bomb plant. or well, it wasn't a bomb plant, do excuse me, very close to it. It's going to be a little bit of a lighter first buy round.
Yeah, so this is them getting into the AKs here. So they've gone for the full save in the second. The AKs coming out into the third. And yeah, it's not going to be any JM AWP hijinks here. Whereas right now, Spinks has the AWP on his back. So is this going to be a spawn play from Spinks? Maybe not so much. He's taking the AWP over towards middle here. So this is going to be quite curious. Spinks aggressively AWPing middle on the first gun round. Going to post himself up to deal with any of these ladder room plays. Now, I was talking about the default a little bit earlier of how outsiders like to approach this. They like to wait out a lot of the utility. They normally have Jamie and Kick It down there dealing with any of that. YEKINDAR, from time to time, will like to help out Flit when they go for the mid control. And maybe this is why you see Spinks posted up in this position, because they do like to come at mid through the ladder room. So giving himself an angle to work with there. Hades with some util to get a bit of a forward position, and well, not putting too much pressure on B early is old Buster. Bit of a meeting going on there down in the lower side of things. So no real direction within the first 55 seconds of play. And now back over towards A. A well-placed flash to flush them deeper, and YEKINDAR will swing. Oh, spotted there on the jump.
Yeah, YEKINDAR more than capable of making a connection like that. Hades wise not to re-peek. Madden with a re-smoke. That will enable Snappy to go walkabout. And YEKINDAR has opened the account. Snappy does keep things level. An important return. Takes out Flit. Flash from Madden. He is trying to make it clear that there's plenty more where that came from. Oh, he nearly gets the frag. Doesn't finish his food. YEKINDAR lives on at 1 HP. And Madden now, with the support of that Sphinx Orb, it's going to be very hard for him to find contributions with it. Big find. Madden takes Kick It out of the equation. This boost might be a little late now. Madden, head on a swivel, could be caught out, and is YEKINDAR with a low HP, and now with just a second to spare. Classic outsiders. James on that default box and posted up. They will get the frag, and 1 HP. YEKINDAR's down, and the round goes ENCE's way. Whew, I thought outsiders had pulled it off again.
Yeah, I thought with Madden still alive in that position so long, he did a lot of work right there. He did go down in the end, but he could have absolutely denied that plan. So a well put together round. Snappy being a bit of a nuisance right there with the MP9, pushing through smokes, making sure that he was accounted for. But that's the slow style and what we've come to expect from outsiders here, milking every second out of that clock. They do get the bomb down. They will be able to get another buy very similar to what you've just seen. So they could go for AKs again. But some Tech 9s in the feed right here is telling of something a little bit different. That was an important kill for Snappy to get right there, because Hades had gone down, right? So actually an important one to make right there. And fast towards middle.
Oh, yeah, really quick. Flit. The four up front of the pack, and already forcing Madden off the line. There is so much space now and not a single body dropped. If those Tech 9s can now group up and hit something together, it gets sketchy.
This might become their coffin, though. They used a lot, well, whatever util they brought in just to get this mid control, and they have the space, but you can see how it's responded to, and they didn't have any lurks elsewhere to grab space once this rotation has come on in. So now ENCE can grab this territory back, be methodical about it, do it as a team, and punish any boost like that. Flit does take down Diha.
Yeah, that's a big frag to find and a big scalp. Highest fragger and flyer for ENCE down early. Re-clearing. Yeah, this could work in Spinks' favor. It's not going to be immediate contact, but relocating. Nothing to report in mid.
It's just they don't have any utility here, so I don't know how you bolster your way into a bomb site. It is going to have to be off trades here, unless they can catch a player sleeping.
Flit does fall. The AK retrievable. YEKINDAR now to ply his trade with the only rifle in play.
Oh, they're gambling A very heavy right now. Bit of a gap created here.
Yeah, B is so accessible. I think Madden's there to try and fill that void quickly, and Jame and Buster are going to come a knock-in.
Look how far forward YEKINDAR is off the top of this boost too.
Oh man, this rotate's going to be really tough, and Spinks has missed it. Does it. The second, YEKINDAR with a response, and now Madden's got so much to do. YEKINDAR is his next victim. Huge from Madden. Jame does manage to get that bomb, surely threatening. 10 seconds. If he could just get Snappy, that bomb plant, perhaps not impossible. Hades up against him. Leaps, charging, headshot not available, and we will see ENCE continue. their spree of rounds. 4 now for them, Chadney, and it could very well be a 5th. They've been banking their cash. We get to see James now back on his AWP.
Yeah, they'd love to be able to get the bomb down again here, right? Just to keep that cash flowing on through. Obviously, max loss bonus is in play right now. The fact that they are getting blanked in that department is starting to sting a little bit. Tried to stay as threatening as they could, and they did get it down to a one-on-one situation. So that's great to keep modest finances for ENCE. Outsiders have kept ENCE in a bit of a breaking point right here. They just need to lob one round on the board. Aggressive play across from Diha. Does have the oversight of Spinks.
Oh, it's Kickett's time in the sunshine here. Trying to worm around the ramp smokes. Madden short side, Snappy. Actually activates upon the incendiary short and just swings on out with nothing to report.
This is the util game, right? So both teams kind of push each other back and forth, and right now the 4th is for ENCE as they have secured the ramp control, can call it completely clear, and are looking for as much damage as they can down and towards the forklift room with some spam, but on the jump they need to be very, very careful here. James AWP, it's quick, cannot connect. Still a smoke for Hades here. He's lining something up deep towards the ramp. Scuttles that one off the top, but they're going to be ahead of it.
Yeah, Hades is actually going to have a face full of lead here. YEKINDAR, the one to provide it. Snappy strikes in unison with Madden, and a lovely outcome for ENCE. As you can see, James actually falls by the wayside. Snappy persisted in the taps. It's Flit and Buster then to try and piece this together for the first of outsiders, and things shaping up nicely. A 2-on-2. High stakes, the smokes do get deployed. It will enable pretty much safe passage to the site, one would assume. Diha and Spinks, they're both here. Very high octane game of Wingman,
dear.
and the double nades down to Diha. Buster's bodyguarding and solving the mystery. A big frag to post and a first round found.
This is the way that outsiders work best, right? They just keep you low on players, low on money, low on finances, and then they win one round and now you're broke. Now you have a choice. Do we force buy, or do we decide that we want to take a bit of an eco of our own? But the force buy option for ENCE here with the 1,400 loss bonus is the poison they picked. Some Deagles, some util. It's going to be very light on here to contest, and this is a chance right now for outsiders to start closing the gap, to start clawing this one back into a pretty even game. Lurk smoke thrown towards B from Buster, and they can take their time, try and understand what the buy looks like, if there's any stacks on the other side, and especially just wait out this C2 util because they're a little bit lighter on in that regard. They're not going to be as confident to go for the same fights. They can't spam on through the smokes with the Deagles the same way they can with the silenced M4s.
Oh, Snappy's the one to get a little more up in the grill. But there is a line drawn in the sand by outsiders. They are happy to just concede all of those aggressive ramp maneuvers and clear it as a pack when they see fit.
You'd have to hit some bangers, right? This is not going to be easy. And one of the problems is on the CT side, if you just play back in the site and they execute, you're not going to be able to do anything whatsoever. You're hoping for a smoke push. So that is a little bit later on the deployment right there onto Scaff. That will force them up one avenue of assault, but Hades has to be careful here.
That was his chance, and a perfect execution. Testament to the power of the flash. He gets 3 body shots to resolve it. Counter-Strike, newest change.
Still a couple of issues here because maybe not if Snappy got that one. Kickett solves the mystery. Madden now chiming on in.
Yeah, and he gets away. That is big. Kickett, you can see how much that's frustrated him. He just continues to wide swing into the site, gets another head-to-head. Madden alive, tagging just through the corner of the box. Spinks up against Buster just as he looks away. Buster will succeed, and now Diha up the creek, no paddle. A Kevlar vest and a Desert Eagle is not going to get him far. And outsiders starting to get their T-half started, and knowing that they're up against Deegs, knowing there was Kevlar involved, they can operate under the assumption that they're going up against a bare-boned buy next.
Yeah, so scoreline should be reading 4-3 momentarily here, but we did see earlier in the day, remember where they had the B rush on Dust 2 against G2 and they had that stack going on? It's hard to pull those type of maneuvers off, and it did require an eco 1v2 to get it confirmed.
But your power rankings for this first stage of competition, are ENCE in the top 3?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
right? They'd have to be, right? Considering their recent form. I think that there's some big names in the Challenger stage here, but the form of Vitality wasn't known coming into this G2. It looked a little bit shaky in recent times. ENCE have been the team who have been going from strength to strength, it feels like.
Yeah.
Outsiders also in a bit of a messy spot.
And Diha, by hiding his model, has the element of surprise and does 2 successive blows to the head of James, taps away, and the bomb is going to be overrun, defended perfectly by Flit. And just 2 more USPs to get through. They are making it very threatening, aren't they? There's 2 members, YEKINDAR and Flit, both down to 20. That is 1 USP bullet to the dome. But from behind, Buster's taking the space and puts Madden in a horrible box. Ouch, that nade couldn't have been better. 55 now for Madden. He had full health coming into this.
I always love how Outsiders don't rush situations like this as well. They just sat on their haunches. They could have gone for fights against those USPs, but making sure they don't give anything over just there. So they will secure their 3rd round. Just a 1-round game right now, and no Hades or Spinks AWP possible here. It is going to be lighter in that department. And will a defuse kit come on through? That is also a question mark right now. Snappy's invested into utility, so no kit here. So if the bomb goes on down, keep that one in the back of your mind. And when we've covered games with Outsiders in the past, Buster over towards this B side of the map can be an absolute nuisance, but 2 CTs dispatched early to deal with this. A very well-placed Molotov right there gives Spinks few options, and forward was the best of them. Expends his smoke immediately here. He is under some threat right now. Yeah, so Buster's just being a bit of an issue.
There's no one quite like Buster for their B-stairs lurk. Madden in mid. He's got 2 very heavy hitters up against him. It's the Flit and YEKINDAR duo. And they just throw a double stack nade. So, I mean, this is clearly part of the plan, right? They want, ENCE to be saying 2 mid. Ooh, and as that has been said,
hold up a second.
Hades, you know where they're gonna be. He is right on the edge of where this line was drawn.
Careful now.
James is lining up that wallbang. YEKINDAR, don't get twitchy now, and that's could be a nasty red face for James. A powerful angle. Adopted by Hades. This is a forward hold from ENCE. It will mean that faking anything is going to be very hard. Nice wallbang out of Hades. Does actually half kick its health.
I don't know how it's happened, but there's 35 seconds left and they have to go B, right? There's too many corners to clear, too much to get past to go towards A, so they've regathered, retooled, and they can set up to hit this site.
Dude, if he has a smoke, if Diha drops this now, they are going to have to run through grey screen up the stairs. Oh, it's going to be tight. Buster does get through. Diha's looking the wrong way. They're already up quad. These whole squad just running into the meat grinder. Buster and James are ready to play, and now the bomb can go down. Just in time, trying to disrupt. Oh, he's maybe done it. If he could just kill Buster, he's actually going to do it 1v3. Hades is going to love that. Outsiders, quite the opposite. Nearly pulling off their signature low time maneuver.
Wow. I think as you're Hades, you're coming through, you're not expecting that open plant, but the reason you'd plant like that is because you don't want to go down to some utility here. So James gone for an open plant, and Hades, he's just going to try and stop that. That's all he's aiming for in that whole situation. He gets away with 2.
And you know Buster's flustered. He's got 2 or 3 seconds to find that headshot. Hades is crouched, is hidden, is a pesky bugger, and hits it on the spray. Hoo-wee. When you cut to Kick It and you still see him ladder, his teammates are screaming, Kick It's mid, he's not got time. Time out off the back of that, yeah.
It looked great. Like, you could see there, the timing of that execute. D-House, that smoke was perfectly timed, but then the utility, he was waiting for the flashes from his teammates coming on in, gets caught a little bit off guard, the trading goes back and forth, and then Hades with that push on through, like a bat out of hell, screaming on in. Well, they're not out of dodge just yet, ENCE, right? It's still very, very fickle as far as the buy's going to go. You've got yourself 2 MP9s in this. It's not looking great, whereas the buy on the other side is looking real tidy. You've got Jane back into the AWP. The util's there.
So ENCE very successfully have got Outsiders wasting time on A, repelling them there. A different setup this time, leaning mid. Will put a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Snappy. He can't be as proactive, and hasn't been. Just confirming scaff presence intermittently. They're going to be ahead of that.
Yeah, he's going to go down here, I think.
Yeah, he's a dead man. Whoa, just like that, tip of the head.
Save?
He was the only one A, and they've got MP9s for a retake.
And you can't run, because Buster's going to hear all your steps that will help to signify that the
A
site...
slow motion rotate.
Yeah, like you have to walk. That's the nature of Vertigo. You don't really get a choice on the CT side unless you want to give up all that information for free. They're going to try and dissuade with utility of their own. There's a HE ready to be deployed from Hades here. But there's no rush on this plant. There's still a couple of extra smokes and Molotovs left on over. Here comes the plant. There goes the nade. Nice damage, but are you going to give this one a crack?
I'm not sure they know. And certainly not now. James connects onto one of the SMGs. Madden down, and so is the round. Outsiders looking for their 4th. And doing so without a single casualty so far. I say that as Spinks has found himself in T-spawn.
He might get one here, especially because Buster's... are they trying to get towards Spinks? Here they are. Buster looking the wrong way, turns back in time. Hades gone, and I think Diha might want that rifle if he can.
Yeah, Spinks is going to be providing it. Maybe an AK upgrade for him. Oh, and Kick It could join. Hello! Quick react out of Spinks to even find it, but yeah, Diha tries his luck and does manage to take another one down. So not quite the perfect round for Outsiders, but they do take everything away from ENCE. And they're down to the pits of despair.
Yeah, that sucks, right? Because Hades wins out the 1-on-3, but you could see the finances were still absolutely shocking. And that meant that they went for something a little bit more gambly. 2 mid, 2 B, expecting a different approach coming out of Outsiders. And maybe you can understand why, because the B hit work. You're thinking maybe they'll go back towards B. They just got a little bit unlucky with losing that clutch, but not to be the case. The spacing up the ramp, catching Snappy off guard ahead of the smoke. And, well, now Outsiders should be tying this one up just against these pistols. First one hits the deck. Buster cleaning up the mess over towards B right now. Hades and Spinks coming to fill the feed.
I don't think he's going to stop. He is not going to stop this killing machine walking in. Spinks, oh, they all jump in. Madden down, Buster to add an ace to his repertoire if he can find the elusive Snappy.
Let him off the leash, let him go have a little bit of a look.
He's grabbed himself an AWP. I think the orders are going to be different now.
Well, look, that's a very good sign for this team, knowing what we know about the whole YEKINDAR situation and the potential future of the squad. The fact that they're even playing situations like this with pistols still by the book, bringing in Bogdan's Law, making sure that they're not taking any risks. Buster having a great game, I think, so far. 12 kills. Kick at the next closest with 8, 7 apiece for James and YEKINDAR. And Snappy, they are hunting you down, my friend. Elbow spotted, shots fired, position known, and kill found. So tying things up 5-5. Will we see the Hades AWP come out? Well, not right now. He still can't afford it. The big green is going to elude Hades for yet another round.
And this is CT side Vertigo. You can really have a lot of freedoms given to you with an AWP in play.
And the only time we've seen it come out here on the CT side was when Spinks actually wielded it over towards mid, which felt like it had quite a purpose going aggressive with that AWP. Again, a little bit light on in the utility department. Not everybody with incendiaries over here on the CT side. Again, not a diffuse kit to work with if they find themselves into a post plant, so that there are problems. Outsiders can really post a strong T-half if they do secure this round right here, right now.
A highly competitive affair. Two teams in very different stages of their life cycles, and yet still trading blow for blow as it currently stands. James, good for this one. Pre-aims. And strikes just shy. Madden will be finding himself in mid on both halves here, and currently has nothing to report.
Yeah, this is the problem, right? When you don't hear and see anything, and then they just explode, and they're all there in the last 30 seconds just trading, and someone still miraculously has the flank, and they have an extra HE and a molly, and you're like, what? We've just sat here trying to fight for all of this and fighting for ramp control with Snappy.
And that's Diha just as he looks away. 3, fill that mid push. He's going to get caught out. Lucky to be alive, but backs are turned, and Madden, nearly a triple, does dink James. And with 30 seconds, this mid-round's about to be a commitment into B. Spinks not going to be Molotov dart out, and so should be set for this. Buster and Kick It are here. Diha to take first contact, and yeah, Diha doesn't even need the help. A nice double. It's 2 multi-kills that determine the victor.
Yeah, Madden saving Diha to set him up for that double right there. So fortunately, his teammate combines because, yeah, Kick It getting that opening kill towards Snappy, peeking out for that information. They missed their molly in towards the B site, right? I think that was destined for the position of Spinks. If they landed that, it could have been a different looking scenario here. But James will look to retain the AWP, does, and ENCE will grab back just the round lead. We continue to go tit for tat here. It's still not a fantastic position for ENCE to be in, and a buy is still very much possible for outsiders here. So if they the problem is every time ENCE win one of these rounds, it brings them back in the loss bonus, right? So they're not going to get as much money when they do eventually lose another round. So if it happens again now, you're looking at the loss bonus of only 1,900 into the next, right? So they have to save. You see the situation they find themselves in, they can't be threatening.
Or at least not with a Hades AWP and all the goodies. We do get those rifles out, and 3 of them are AK-47s. A tactical pause called, and in the first of the Outsiders 4.
Dustin's probably pretty happy with how things are trending so far, because if they do bounce back and break serve with this round, it's almost good for 2, right? That's kind of how it's framed in my mind with the economy at this juncture. Obviously, it depends on the amount of saves and all those other little details here.
Let's see how they shape it up then. Buster at the top of the scoreboard. He's been persistent on the B lurk, aggressive at times, of course, farming up on the anti-eco. Hades and Snappy are the A duo with Madden floating in between, and oh, they are progressing. Snappy,
great flash.
So blind. Madden needed that, and he gets it just about. The transfer nearly came through. Flit's still here to do damage. Takes a solid jab at Hades. And now Buster can activate mid.
Look at the massive gap he has to work with right now.
Oh, they're playing the numbers beautifully. 3 of them A ramp. Madden trying to change things, but just walks to his demise instead. And now 2. Diha at least clears the mid luck. He can sprint to Spinks. And upon the fade, the spray finds nothing. Flit 2 HP, burning, but escapes with his tail between his legs. To Diha, waiting. Oh, strikes straight through the smoke. And he knows one is on the default box. YEKINDAR trying to crab walk out of there, but does meet another hot AK bullet. Oh, does meet James on the cross as well. Trying to reposition. Smoke and mirrors. Going to strike Spinks, expecting to find him on one side. James already on the other. Spinks beats him out. AWP v AK for a must-win round. ENCE will get that 2-round buffer now, but 3 kills out of Diha. A lot of impact when they needed him.
It's a clutch again right here, though, isn't it? Just one player surviving. They're going to not be able to find that. He does. He just picked up the AWP there. And this was necessary for Madden there to find that trade. Diha taking down the lurk of Buster, finding this through the smoke. Maybe he heard the pin get pulled, right? Because you see the smoke get dribbled out of the hands just there.
Oh, that really worked out for them. If Flit in any way, shape or form gets to sandbags, I mean, that's probably what he's thinking as well. He knows it's a must hit, gets it. And so, 7-5, a highly competitive Vertigo between these 2.
And finally, we see Hades get the AWP into his hands. So let's see if he can make a difference with this over towards the A ramp. They have been under the pump quite consistently here as smokes are in exchange. And that's going to slow down any presence that Kick It wants to have early, just having to spend some bullets through the smoke as they are now turning their attention towards B.
Here?
Might have a flash ready to set Diha up for this.
Yeah, they got this 2-man B set up, and already
He's spotted.
Forced off, full blind, and look at the space. Diha's done it. Another double out of Diha. Called upon and delivers. Spinks there for the backup. It's Flit through mid. Madden ready. Receives with open arms, and this is where the pace really will shift. James not allowed to save. Run down. They lose everything, Chad, and ENCE already winning out the half. Diha passes the test on B.
And what felt like 2 rounds ago that it was looking very bleak and very dire for ENCE now feels that way for outsiders. They've had to expend all this cash, not getting across the line in a couple of close gun rounds here. 3 consecutive. ENCE are having to do it the hard way, right? They're having to do it against buy after buy, all the util, the AWPs in play. Now it should get a little bit easier. Now they shouldn't be going up to anything as potent. You can see an AK has been dropped across here, some deagles, some light util into the mix. It's still a bit of a problem to deal with.
Kick has got a lot of aggression, and Snappy happy to receive it. That was the AK gone, and YEKINDAR down on the retrieval. Oof.
Those bullets just kept finding him no matter where he went.
Magnetic.
It's crazy, that bouncing at that seesaw that ENCE have been on, right? Those clutches, they were very close. It felt like they were setting them up for a fall in future rounds. 3 of them just swarm, ready to take down these pistols. Yeah, we're not letting you get back that AK. That's ours to keep now, I think.
Yeah, I love the Musketeer setup. 1 down, 1 above. 16. They are quietly getting farmed up by Diha towards the tail end of this CT half, and Flitz Glock pokes his head out of the smoke into Snappy for a third.
That's the thing with this ENCE team, right? They slowly like collected all of these pieces of the puzzle here. And you had Madden come in and take the place of Doto, and everyone was like, well, how's this going to work? Doto was a bit more of a supportive element, but they've been able to make this work. And I think it's because these players, they're all actually quite versatile, and they're all very mechanically gifted. It's the experience that these individuals lack, right? That Snappy is the most experienced of the lot of them. The rest of them are names that have really only blasted onto our screens over, what, maybe the last couple of years.
Yeah, but I mean, throughout his entire career, Snappy's not been given 4 individuals that are this diverse and versatile. Argue with me, debate with me if you'd like, but this is a unique situation for him, and it's something that wouldn't have been possible or manifesting without his years of experience being the driving force for him taking the reins of ENCE. Buster does have a bit more pep in his step here, but the nade will take that right out of the wings. Oh, burnt a little as well. So that's a note from him.
Double mid setup should lock this down. 3 on the other side here.
Oh, I haven't seen this one tested by so many bodies yet. Here you go. Any flashes or will they crawl?
There's the flash.
And here's the frag. Tested, and YEKINDAR takes them both down. Okay, ENCE. What you got now? Because YEKINDAR's on the prowl. Hades does have that mid angle. Smoked gap. YEKINDAR. Oh, he's on for the third, maybe the fourth. YEKINDAR does meet Snappy's M4. A 2-man advantage.
Still
One CT on either side, and just through the gap, Snappy catches Flitz walk. The advantage starting to be ripped away from them. Bomb still down in the depths of the site. Kickit's got a lot of room though. Will Snappy be anticipating someone so pushed up?
Kickit might have heard a couple of footsteps there as well to try and identify this hold. Now just waiting for the bomb to get scooped and make its way over. They're working with 2 flashes here. So one of the keys with Kickit's forward position is they could get him right onto the cusp here, pushed on up, and oh, Snappy's coming his way. Snappy actually fancies a fight here.
He's going to have a look. Oh, he does find Kickit. That will
for Snappy.
Cancel their plans. They were about to commit. Now the bomb's on his map, and the bomb is down the floor. Buster gone, nothing, not a single bullet connects. Snappy individually pulling his weight and then some, second highest in the server. And now it's just Jame, 1v2. Snappy confirms it.
Wants the ace.
Can't be picked up. Snappy let him have it, takes it, ace, and a wink from the in-game leader. ENCE gonna be happy with that one, but the Dane explicitly.
Yeah, that was beautiful stuff. And Snappy continues to show no age is but a number. One of the older boys out here getting it done. In-game leader. Showing some flair. And this was after the YEKINDAR 3-piece feed. Out mid. 2 gaps in the same. They threw 2 smokes to deal with that and flubbed it both times.
And that's the punishment for it. Snappy's domain on A farms up 5 frags at the tail end of that first half. That puts them up to 10, Chad. A pistol worth its weight in gold for the outsiders. Now let's see whom of this outsiders roster has that golden touch, that Midas touch. Buster equipped with the Kev. We've got a lot of util. Good grief. Okay, CT side regales themselves with a double smoke, double flash combo.
Yeah, the nades you can understand, right? You can use that to deal with the plant. You can see that being left there exactly to do so here. But the smoke, the flashes, do they have something in mind here as lots of noise? Bit of a bull in a china shop type situation. And look how far Snappy is. Look how far up he is already.
Okay, lads, nothing home. The nade held by YEKINDAR. Bombs nowhere near. They're going B. They're going B. And Buster quickly gets some information back. 4 CTs find themselves in the right place. And now all of this A presence might incite a rotate.
Yeah, look how far up they are.
They don't have to move a muscle. It's YEKINDAR that's kind of in a bit of a box. Rotated back through, so staying mobile, and they're in the right place. Finger on the pulse. It's Kickit that cuts Snappy's short.
Here comes the nades.
And that's the nade stack. 1.
Oh.
And 2. Okay, wow. Dia gets away and gets the frag. Bomb plant as well. Humongous from Dia. He's still sticking around. Why not? With the low HP. Hades long range with that P250. The support present. Multiple frags available. Jame does silence 1. Madden takes his place immediately. Madden trying to stay frisky, trying to stay dynamic and threatening. So many bodies. Deals with 1 of the 3. 2 remaining. Buster on headshot, up and over. The Z-axis blinds him. He had no idea it's Hades sandbags. They know! And Buster hits it. A cracker. 4 outsiders as they get the must win.
Wow, that was pretty sketchy in patches right there. That was very, very wild scenes. Once you get the position up there over towards sandbags of Hades with the P250, feels very, very strong. It even felt like that smoke was thrown and starting to fade as well. Hades, if he waited a second or two, could have had an opportunity to take that fight. That was the opener from Kick It on the way back in. See, smoke just starting to fade here, and they're both running him on down. Oh.
He probably saw nothing, just a black smoke as his lights were snubbed out.
Well, look at the buy. They've been able to get out some MAC-10s and AK, some Deagles, plenty of util to work with right here. Windows being broken. This could be very, very quick over towards B.
Yeah, you see the flashes they're throwing?
Lots of flashes.
Just trying to keep Buster caged.
He's on his own.
And he's dead. Okay, they can take a whole lot of space. The rotate swift. The cavalry has arrived. And the smokes, look how the smokes, there's a whole channel for Madden to charge through, and he is straight through the obscured line. And now elevated, Kicker joins him, and he does meet the MAC-10. ENCE with 2 large contributions to enable and facilitate a plant. This second round force, very threatening. Outsiders did it once in the pistol, but now 3 left to try and rock the boat back in their favor. YEKINDAR's good for it. Flit, half the health of the stacked boxes. They're all behind the gen. Hades needs a fresh mag and is given the privilege. 1 is good enough, but the double's even better. Flit, a dead man walking, and you have an 11th ENCE. Know what that means.
I love that. I love that little play right there. The fact is, for Buster, that util's landing behind him. He doesn't even know what's going on. You see how quick it was thrown, how fast they were, all the suppressing flashes to deal with that type of aggressive maneuver. The fact he gets nothing done, that space that was taken. The CTs lobbed an extra smoke forward to try and give themselves something to push back into to get some ground, but they were too scared to play in front of the smokes. Madden wasn't scared at all. Him pushing in took away all that space, confirmed that no one was forward, and now it has to be an eco out of outsiders.
It's going to feel similar. Very, very similar. It might even be exactly the same. An identical round thrown in. This time it's Snappy leaping into the spray on default. Clears out Kick It. There's a lot more where that came from, but Snappy, good for the double. And outsiders, they didn't get a time to process, to reposition, to think it out already. Bomb is down and the round is lost.
Well, Snappy had run into the side there at 1:40 with both those smokes already up. So that's how quick that they're blooming as part of that. And the way that you would have to deal with this is have multiple bodies ahead of the smoke wall fighting over towards the ramp position, but they have so many suppressing flashes. So you're going to have to problem solve this quite quickly because this is going to echo through the rest of this half. Even if ENCE don't run it consecutively, if they can save it, but the threat of those smokes, the way that they have to approach this on the CT side now, outsiders, they have to acknowledge this little pocket play. And you're bang on the fact that they've run it 2 times in a row, the outsiders know that this is something that is going to be coming their way. So it's something that they have to address. It's not something they can just forget about.
It's probably safe to assume that they just spent this save of the light pistols talking about it, thinking it through. Snappy has just straight up pulled a page out of the strat book, and it's likely, you know, so let's not forget Saw the coach as well, one of the reasons we saw Vertigo in that map veto today.
Yeah, that was a bit of a conversation as well, ending up here, right? Because if you look at the head-to-heads of these guys in recent times, Vertigo hasn't actually graced the map pool between these 2 teams. So interesting to see it come through. Definitely something that ENCE has been working on, and for good reason right now. And that lost streak of 4 for outsiders could very swiftly become 5. And, well, throwing those early flashes.
Same flashes immediately draws attention. YEKINDAR's the one tasked with holding ramp and flash smoke. He has nothing. 0, zilch, nada.
And you can see how many players outsiders started over towards V with, right? They started with the lion's share of, obviously, this is an eco situation, but they were prepared for more of the same. Now they have to rotate back on over, and well, they're out of position for now. As these smokes start to fade, you can see the B-bomb site is left empty.
Hence, they can't afford to trip over their shoelaces. Madden, only 1. Rifles to be retrieved, and Hades has to bodyguard them. Double, good for it. And so the stress and the sweat wiped off the brow. For a moment there, it looked like ENCE were about to be tested, but the hard part is certainly still to come. 13 secure. The rifles are going to be back out in full force. And this is when that conversation continues, right? They've done it twice. It's worked twice. Do we have to lean a second rifle B? Do we have to, adjust our setup?
I'd love to see them run it again, just see if they are able to punish with it here. Looks like
ballsy.
Spinks is going for the gap smoke, so a different look here as they will be going up against James AWP on the other side. YEKINDAR quickly over towards short. He's going to be denied vision here.
Quick response if he wanted to drop his own smoke. Snappy's lining up short.
Yeah, so that means they can't play out on that girder, so would deny any aggression, and now they're just crawling on up the ramp. The sharp object that is Madden looking for a head or two.
Yeah, he's going to get naded down to half here. Flit. Snappy already good onto YEKINDAR, but Flit activates and successfully does get out of dodge. Madden slinking through short as Diha and his B progressions. That's the easiest frag Jane will post. A dry peek out of Madden, not anticipating an AWP. Now this boost, Buster very well drilled on his B defense. It's the only sight he sees.
Aren't they? Look at that nade.
100 damage dealt. Buster, kicker. So they do lose one of the two. And if Hades is quick on the scope, that's a prime position to find Buster on these boxes. Smoke's there from his teammate. Toe spotted. Buster close. Spinks does somehow find the head. Good grief. 1 HP, he gets away with that, and now suddenly outsiders have to think this through. Jame has a flash to enable Flit to take a fight.
But he's so low. This would be a normal situation where outsiders would save. You wouldn't
but
often
it's
see
14.
outsiders go for a round like this, and Jame fancied his chances right there. And it's actually Flit who was the one a little bit more frigid about going in for that retake. So looking just to hold on to this M4, this is looking great for ENCE, and it felt like they got stalled on out. But you saw that nade come in and land on the boost. That's why Diha and Hades are so low on... actually, Spinks was so low on HP with that nade situation. And once you smoke the top of the stairs, as the CTs, your options of where you have to watch kind of change a little bit. You're worried a bit more about the boost. And it felt like they had accounted for it until they hadn't. So,
yeah.
Bit of an odd one right there. But ENCE are looking great. 14 confirmed. Yeah,
and just also, this is a big red flag for all teams preparing to anti-strat. There's a new map in town for the ENCE power rankings. You've got to be very cautious if Snappy and his cronies have managed to add another one to their repertoire to this extent. I mean, I'll read the score out one more time. 14-6. Outsiders. Though there is a bit of a loss streak brewing on Vertigo, historically, this is a map that they can ply their trade very effectively. Smoke for the ramp from Flit. The flash is leaning B. This could be that B take once again. You can see the two smokes they throw. Buster already blind, calling for raid. Kicker is there early, but the MAC-10 posturing. Good dig. Only the one. It's a double from Diha. Again, top of the scoreboard. The high-flying pole has got them an avenue into the... Oh, look at that. That's
super geeky
as hell. Oh, and a second one as well. Where are you supposed to go?
You can't go anywhere. And on that B site, you can't do anything either. Right, like it is so suffocating what they're doing here. You saw the two players on the site wanted to stand and fight. That's fine. It's only two of you.
Do you smell it, Chad? That's the smell of a meta shift.
I love this, seeing the B bomb site getting so much love as, well, Spinks will give a bit of that over to YEKINDAR. Bullet in the dome one.
Vertigo is only one site.
Well, look, they want to, change that conversation right now, but we'll see. Nart's probably already downloading the demo, ready to make a video or two.
I can't wait for all the keen Estonian 5 stacks to start dropping them.
I forgot who I was talking to in recent time. I was having a chit chat with somebody recently, and they were saying that they think that on Vertigo, the smokes from spawn through the windows haven't been fully utilized yet. Obviously, we've seen Apex doing it over towards A, but right now, like, just how quick and I say the word again, suffocating, because that's what this is, right? And they have good protocols for it. Okay, they throw a Molotov. Well, we're going to extinguish. We have a lot of flashes, so we want to take that fight.
Yeah, there's a lot of mischief in the server from ENCE at this point in time. Even their face kind of embodies that. You can see Spinks feels like he's getting away with something naughty with these flashes and smokes combined. They're throwing him again.
This time it's a bit more of a fake here, though, right? You can see them throw all that util.
Yeah, but look at Jane. You've got Jane,
got three
Kicker,
players
and
leaning B.
Buster there. It's mission accomplished, bro.
And they didn't even throw all the util, right? It was just one smoke as opposed to the two with all the flashes. So it is right now just Flit and YEKINDAR to batten down the hatches and hopefully hold on towards A. And YEKINDAR needs to make sure he doesn't fall off the map here. Dicing with death.
Flip barrel may betray him there. Snappy eyes locked on it. Madden responsible for this angle. Oh, nice timing on YEKINDAR, but unable to put them in the right place. He does eventually, and it's Diha quick in response. Uh-oh, that sound cue usually is the cue that Flick can activate Buster instead. That's trying to lock the door. A quick one out of Hades. Short clear. Orp up close. Is this really the last round of Vertigo? Outsiders, 3 left, defending their honor.
Oh!
And Hades does it again. Kick it up close. This time meets the Zoom banger. Buster and Jame, just Jame, up against 3. ENCE running rings around the Outsiders on Vertigo, no less. A team effort. Jame, nice angle just on the gap, does exploit. D has gone, but so is the bomb.
Spotted 1, smoke faded. 20 seconds. They need to pick this up. They need to deal with Jame.
Snappy's on that close wall. Jame will just bide his time for the sound cue. Oh, just a flash of Snappy. That's a huge advantage now as the hunt comes in. 10 seconds. He's isolated the duel. Jame looking to extend play. Spinks says no, and ENCE 2-0. Oh my. That is quite a result. Dominant from ENCE start to finish.
Yeah, and that loss streak continues for Outsiders now on Vertigo. That's going to be 5 in a row. They came into, there was a 4-loss streak on this map and able to show a very, very good face here. And that's once we got onto the second half, right? The CT half was